and the respect he had for the people who had helped him along the way. D'Agostino was on the inside, and in D'Agostino's world, people on the inside didn't talk to outsiders, especially writers. Thankfully, I can be pretty persuasive. Eventually, I did manage to convince D'Agostino to let me write the book. To appease his fears, I renamed the main character David Russo. Other than obvious public figures, I have not used any real names in telling this story. For the sake of narrative and to protect the privacy of the individuals in this story, I compressed certain time periods and altered the identity and background of certain individuals so that they would not be recognizable. Characters such as Gallo and Khaled are composites and are not meant to portray particular people. In the end, after reading the story, D'Agostino agreed to allow his real name in the author's note and in the afterword, which he wrote himself. I know that such an arrangement is unique in a work of nonfiction, but this is indeed a unique book. Unique for me as a writer, and hopefully just as unique for you as a reader. Ben Mezrich, Boston. Prologue. Oil. On the Arab street, they have another name for it, the black blood of Allah, a gift handed down directly from God, endowing the Muslim world with everlasting power over the West. In the West, oil is no less influential. It is inarguably the most important tradable commodity on earth. Oil is the source of wealth and power, the currency that drives the world economy. Some believe it is also the cause of most wars and acts of terrorism. In truth, there's a reason men fight wars over oil. At its essence, oil is energy. It powers everything. It is, in itself, power, but power with a price. Historically, oil has always divided the world into two opposing forces, those who have and those who need. Very soon, that historical fact may change, because very soon oil may also end up bringing the world together in a way that politics, diplomacy, and war never could. Chapter 1. 3:30 in the morning, maybe closer to 4. A packed club in the Flatiron district of Manhattan, a place called Gypsy Tea. Trendy as hell, the velvet rope outside lorded over by a doorman with a shaved head and a name nobody could pronounce, and a girl in a leather skirt so short she could have worn it as a wristband. 2 couch-strewn floors teeming with pretty people in designer clothes. Their New York hip factor ratified by the fact that it was past 3 in the morning on a Tuesday and that they'd somehow made it past the door bitches in their mysterious and uniquely New York vetting practices. The music was dangerously loud, bouncing off the walls in ear-shattering waves, and the champagne was flowing freely, splashing down the sides of crystal flutes and splattering all over the thick faux leather carpeting. The VIP area took up most of the back corner of the first floor, separated from the rest of the club by another velvet rope. The bouncers at this rope were wearing headsets and holding clipboards, but the clipboards were really just for show. If you were going to get into the VIP, the bouncers wouldn't need to find your name on a list. The crowd beyond the rope was young, 20s and 30s, and obviously well-heeled. Bankers and tailored Brooks Brothers mingled with hip-hop execs in Armani and Sean John. Primetime celebs swirled about like errant weather patterns, trailing wakes of PR flunkies, oversized bodyguards, and harried assistants. And of course, there were girls. There were always girls. Models from Ford and Elite and Next, too tall and too thin and too angled, more giraffes than gazelles. David Russo watched the circus from the safety of a corner banquette, his shoulders tense beneath the thin material of his charcoal-colored Xenia suit. The banquette was lodged behind a black marble table, which struggled beneath a glass metropolis of champagne and vodka bottles, ensconced by overflowing buckets of ice. David had a drink in his hand, something with vodka, he assumed, but he hadn't even taken a sip. Although he was not a stranger to places like this, he was definitely an outsider. At 26, he had never made a hobby of decadence, and at this hour he was usually holed up in his office, preparing for the market's next opening, or home in bed with Serena, his girlfriend of 2 years. But tonight he hadn't had much of a choice. In less than a week, David's entire life was going to change, and he had to tread carefully. He had to keep up appearances, act as though nothing was out of the ordinary, no matter how far from ordinary things were about to become. Fucking awesome, isn't it? Michael Vizzioli winked at him from a thickly cushioned couch to his right, then high-fived the 2 young men sitting across the table from them. Joey Brunetti and Jim Rosa shouted something back, but their voices were lost in the noise of the club.